Kevin Costner's other Western series won more Emmys than Yellowstone. Yellowstone fans are still divided about the show's finale and whether Kevin Costner ought to have been around until the very end. Behind-the-scenes disputes were to blame as the actor wanted to be granted ample time to finish filming Horizon, an American saga, but Taylor Sheridan and his team wouldn't stop everything for him. So, how does the actor feel about how things turned out? When the Daily Mail asked him about it, he gave a straightforward answer. Letting go might be easy for him, but it sure is hard for fans who might have invested heavily in his character. Thankfully, Costner isn't the kind of actor who only has a few good productions under his belt. Ever since he broke out in the 80s, he has consistently starred in critically acclaimed movies and TV shows. In fact, the actor has another Western series that shines a harsh light on a nearly forgotten chapter of history. And it is arguably better than Yellowstone. After all, it won more Emmys, including an Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series trophy for Costner. Hatfields and McCoys takes us back to a 19th century feud. Produced by the History Channel, Hatfields and McCoys recounts the infamous feud between the Hatfields and McCoys, including the allies of both families, which started during the Civil War in 1863 and stretched to the Reconstruction Era. The Hatfields hailed from West Virginia and were led by William Anderson Devilance Hatfield, portrayed by Kevin Costner in the series, while the McCoys hailed from Kentucky and had Randolph "Ol' Rannell" McCoy, Bill Paxton, as the patriarch. So tense was the hostility that it prompted judicial and police intervention, including an appeal to the Supreme Court. The feud would eventually enter the American folklore lexicon as a metonym for rival parties. Of the two families, the Hatfields were richer. Once's timbering operation helped the family make money, hand over fist. Additionally, they had political connections from across America. The McCoys, on the other hand, were a middle-class family. Ol' Rannell's farm was only 300 acres, 120 hectares, in size. Both families also shared a business venture as they were involved in the sale and manufacture of illegal moonshine, a highly sought-after commodity at the time. The origins of the feud aren't exactly known. It's partly attributed to hostilities formed during the American Civil War, in which the McCoys were mainly Unionists and the Hatfields were Confederates. After the national conflict, the two families would encounter horror worse than any imaginable on the front. Some historians trace it back to Randall McCoy, who believed that a Hatfield was responsible for the theft of one of his hogs. Minor arguments between the two families, who lived on opposite sides of a border stream, the Tug Fork, the McCoys in Pike County, would eventually evolve into bloodletting when Ellison Hatfield was shot during a brawl with McCoys. The Hatfields then opted to retaliate en masse, first by kidnapping and killing 3 McCoy brothers. From there, it was all chaos. A success in every possible way. Hatfields and McCoys is one of the History Channel's most enjoyable, intellectually rewarding, and genre-defining productions, extensively examining the sullied yet undying link between its self-destructive characters. It was the network's first scripted drama to make it to air. History had made The Kennedys in 2011, but never aired it in the United States, and was extremely well received by award organizers. It was granted 16 Emmy nominations, the most since History Channel was formed, winning 5. In comparison, Yellowstone only ever received 1 Emmy nomination for Outstanding Production Design for a narrative contemporary program, despite airing for more seasons. The miniseries draws a bead on class conflict in the Old West with unabashed directness, so it's no surprise that critics adored it just as much as award organization honchos. On Rotten Tomatoes, the series has a 71% critic score, while the Pocore meter reads 93%, proving that Western fans think it is perfect. The show's impact would also stretch beyond the screen. According to Kentucky's WIMT-TV, Hatfields and McCoys boosted tourism numbers in the area as people streamed, wanting to know about the feud. Pike County Tourism Vice Chair Reed Potter was quoted saying, "Yellowstone, who are still disgruntled about Costner's exit, or those who agree with Quentin Tarantino that the show is nothing but a soap opera, thus have a perfect alternative. It's short, sweet, and worth your time." Kevin Costner's love story with Westerns is an admirable one. Like Clint Eastwood, Kevin Costner's favorite genre is easy to guess. Despite growing up in Compton, California, Kevin Costner has always been in love with cowboy culture. From Wyatt Earp to Dances with the Wolves, the celebrated actor has experimented with every possible genre, but fans can always bet on him donning a hat every few years. His choice to commit several years of his career to Yellowstone, therefore, came as no surprise. But how did he grow to love the genre? Speaking to Outsider, the actor revealed that watching the 1962 John Ford film, How the West Was Won as a child, inspired his love for Western movies. Like Hatfields and McCoys and Yellowstone, the film is mostly a family story that can't help but flirt with socio-political topics. It beautifully blends titillating research with creative Roman A-clef material, resulting in a perfect Hollywood picture. Costner acknowledges that the gutsy yet graceful attitude of the film's characters inspired him to achieve his full potential. He also disclosed that his experience watching How the West Was Won at the Cinerama Dome for a friend's birthday also inspired his love for longer movies. Well, the movie's running time is actually under 3 hours, but for a child, it might have felt like a long time. We get it. Interestingly, Costner's attempt to put a post-apocalyptic spin on the genre almost killed his career. In 1995, he starred in Waterworld, a western set in a distant future where the polar ice caps have melted, finding the protagonist on a long, soul-crushing journey into an apocalyptic nightmare. The film earned him a Razzie nomination and was heavily panned by critics, managing a 46% Rotten Tomatoes score. Other actors might have sworn off the genre after such a failure, but Costner stuck to his love. The quality and ingenuity of his output converted his doubters over time, as they witnessed him redefining what industriousness was all about. And we're glad he kept going.